Today on MTG Unpacked, we're taking a look at the new Lord of the Rings Commander deck, the Hosts of Mordor. So the commander here is Sauron, Lord of the Rings. This is a blue, black, red deck. Looks like we get a collector booster sample pack here, 2 legendary traditional foils, 1 king to rule them all. So let's see here, 100 card deck with 20 new cards, foil etch display commander, 11 double-sided tokens, deck box, life foil, strategy insert, and reference card. So let's get to cracking here. So there's actually 4 of these decks. These ones in particular going for about $74 at the time of filming. You're looking at about $200 worth of cards here, so that's US dollars. A little bit pricey though. I would wait actually until the prices drop. They usually do reprints of these, so let's take a look at what you get for your money here. So we have a deck box which has some awesome artwork on it. Let's zoom in there. There we go. Okay, so that should fit a sleeved commander deck quite comfortably. I'm not sure about double sleeve though. And we have some punch out cards here, very shiny. Some tokens as well. Okay, and then we have our life wheel. So these typically, these are going up to 40, yep, and down to 1. Okay, so that's pretty much the same as usual. And then we'll take a look at this flyer here. Playing the deck. Alright, Sauron, Lord of the Rings. And it does not to... Oh, this deck is designed to win the long game. Okay, so you're probably not going to have a lot to do at the beginning. I'm expecting like control type strategies. We've got a commander rules there. And Sauron, Lord of the Rings. So there's some lore. Saruman the White Hand. Okay, so he's doing the bidding of Sauron. Why are they blue, black, and red aligned? Okay, so you can read about their reasoning behind that. That's pretty cool. Okay, and let's take a look at this collector booster sample pack. So you're not going to be able to get the 1 ring out of this one, the 1 of 1. This is just purely a sample pack. 2 wet your appetite. I think that's everything. Okay, so we've got an ad card and Rangers of Ithilien. Okay, so that is a non-foil, followed by a Dunland Crabane. And what you pull out of yours will be different than what I have, most likely. Okay, so let's get into the deck itself. And we will start with digging through here to the thick display commander. So we've got Sauron, Lord of the Rings. You'll notice it's a thicker card. You can't actually shuffle this into your deck. Purely for display. And then let's go cutting out the lands. So I'm going to say about there. And let's cut the deck in half and take a look at what we've got. So we have Sauron, Lord of the Rings, a foil mythic. Legendary creature avatar horror 9948. Holy moly, okay, that's a lot of mana. When you cast this spell, amass orcs 5, mill 5 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Has trample. Whenever a commander an opponent controls dies, the ring tempts you. So that's the new mechanic in this set. Okay, and we also have Saruman the White Hand. Another mythic legendary creature avatar wizard 2/5 for 4. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, amass orcs X, where X is that spell's mana value. Okay, that's pretty cool. So you get to put X +1/+1 counters on an army you control. It's also an orc, and if you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black orc army creature token first. Goblins and orcs you control have ward 2. And just the mention of goblins, I think this is probably the deck for me. Let's see if that's right. Next up we have Treason of Isengard, sorcery for 3. Put up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. Amass Orcs 2. Okay, so bringing stuff back from the graveyard. That's where that milling comes in handy. We have Bitter Downfall, instant for 4. The spell costs 3 less to cast. If it targets a creature that was dealt damage this turn, destroy target creature. Its controller loses 2 life. And the Troll of Khazad Doom, creature troll, 6/5 for 6. It can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. Has Swamp Cycling 1. And Voracious Fellbeast, creature Drake Beast, 4/4 for 6 with flying. When it enters battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a food token for each creature sacrificed this way. So the food tokens are artifacts with pay 2 tap. Sack this artifact, you gain 3 life. And Fiery Inscription, enchantment for 3. When it enters battlefield, the ring tempts you. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Fiery Inscription deals 2 damage to each opponent. And next we have Grishnak, Brash Instigator, legendary creature, Goblin Soldier, 1/1 for 3. So when it enters battlefield, Amass Orcs 2. When you do, until end of turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. And Arcane Denial. And by the way, all the artwork for these is unique for these sets, so that's something pretty cool about these decks. We have an instant for 2. Counter target spell, its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the new turn's upkeep, or the next turn's upkeep. You draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Okay, so there is some control. Boon of the Wishgiver, sorcery for 6, draw 4 cards, cycling for 1. Wasn't this the one that was in Ixalan? I think so. We've got different artwork though. Consider, instant for 1, surveil 1 and draw a card. Deep Analysis, sorcery for 4, target player draws 2 cards, has flashback for 1 and a blue and paying 3 life. Fact or Fiction, instant for 4. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and opponent separates them into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So again, starting to fill that graveyard, you can bring the stuff back. We have Forbidden Alchemy, instant for 3. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Flashback for 6 and a black. Feed the Swarm, sorcery for 2. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls, you lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. And Merciless Executioner, creature orc warrior, 3/1 for 3. When it enters battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature, and that actually includes you as well. Revenge of Ravens, enchantment for 4. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So that's pretty handy, counteracting some of that life loss you have here. Anger, creature incarnation, 2/2 for 4 with haste. As long as anger is in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. Faithless Looting, okay, so some new artwork on this one as well. Sorcery for a single red, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards, has flashback for 2 and a red. The Mouth of Sauron, legendary creature, human advisor, 3/4 for 5. When it enters battlefield, target player mills 3 cards, then amass Orcs X, where X is the number of instant and sorcery cards in that player's graveyard. Okay, so some more milling there. And you could actually target yourself for that one if it would come in handy. Goblin Crater Maker, creature goblin warrior, 2/2 for 2. Yep. For 1, sack it, choose 1. Goblin Crater Maker deals 2 damage to target creature. Destroy target colorless non-land permanent. Oh, more goblins, loving it. Gutter Snipe, creature goblin shaman, 2/2 for 3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Gutter Snipe deals 2 damage to each opponent. Shiny Impetus, enchantment aura for 3, enchant creature. The enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. And whenever an enchanted creature attacks, you create a treasure token. Thrill of Possibility, instant for 2. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. You get to draw 2 cards. Extract from Darkness, sorcery for 5. Each player mills 2 cards, Then you put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So it could be from an opponent's graveyard as well. We've got Arcane Signet Artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Basalt Monolith Artifact for 3. It doesn't untap during your untap step. You can tap to add 3 colorless mana for 3 untap Basalt Monolith. Commander's Sphere. Some spiffy artwork on this one. Artifact for 3. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and if you sacrifice it, draw a card. Everflowing Chalice Artifact for 0 has multi-kicker 2. It enters battlefield with a charge counter on it for each time it was kicked. Tap to add colorless for each charge counter on Everflowing Chalice. And Mindstone Artifact for 2. Tap 4 colorless for 1. Tap, sack it, draw a card. Okay, so we're about roughly halfway through the main part of the deck here. Next up we have Corsairs of Umbar. Creature human pirate 3/3 for 4. For 2 and a blue, target goblin, orc or pirate can't be blocked this turn. And whenever Corsairs of Umbar deals combat damage to a player, amass orcs 3. I think that is a new card for this set. Monstrosity of the Lake. Legendary creature Kraken 4/6 for 5. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 5. If you do, tap all creatures your opponents control. Then put a stun counter on each of those creatures. Has island cycling for 2. Subjugate the Hobbits. Sorcery for 7. Gain control of each non-commander creature with mana value 3 or less. That's pretty crazy, but yeah, you do certainly pay the mana cost on that one. Shelob Dreadweaver. Legendary creature Spider Demon 3/3 for 4. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, exile it. And for 2 and a black, put a creature card exiled with Shelob Dreadweaver into its owner's graveyard. You get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on Shelob, draw a card. And for X, 1 and a black, put target creature card with mana value X exiled with Shelob onto the battlefield tapped under your control. And Cavern Horde Dragon. This one's pretty cool. Creature Dragon 6/6 for 9. The spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest number of artifacts an opponent controls. Has flying, trample, and haste, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token for each artifact that player controls. Next up we got Orcish Siege Master. Creature Orc Soldier 0/5 for 3 with trample. Other orcs and goblins you control have trample. And whenever Orcish Siege Master attacks, it gets +X +0 until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Rampaging War Mammoth. Creature Elephant 9/7 for 7. What? Has trample. You can cycle for X, 2 and a red, and when you cycle it, destroy up to X target artifacts. The Balrog of Moria. Legendary creature Avatar Demon 8/8 for, 7. Has trample and haste. When it dies, you may exile it. When you do, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. Cycle it for 3 and a red, and when you cycle it, create 2 treasure tokens. Grima Saruman's Footman. Legendary creature Human Advisor 1/4 for 4. It can't be blocked, and when it deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost, and then that player puts the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of their library in a random order. In the Darkness, Bind Them. So this is an enchantment saga for 5. So on the first step, you create a 3/3 Black Wraith creature token with menace. The ring tempts you, and that also applies to the second and third turn. On the fourth turn, for each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature that player controls until end of turn. Untap those creatures. They gain haste until end of turn. The ring tempts you. And Lidless Gaze. It's the Gaze of Sauron again. Sorcery for 4. Exile the top card of each player's library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast them. Flashback for 2, black and red. Lord of the Nazgul. Legendary creature Wraith Noble 4/3 for 5 with flying. Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers. Okay, that's interesting. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3 Black Wraith creature token with menace. Then if you control 9 or more Wraiths you control have base power and toughness 9/9 until end of turn. That sounds pretty awesome, to be honest. Moria Scavenger, creature Orc Rogue 1/4 for 3 with Death Touch and Haste. Tap, discard a card, you get to draw a card, and if the discarded card was a creature card, amass Orcs 1. Summons of Saruman, sorcery for X, blue and red, amass Orcs X, and mill X cards. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value X or less from among them without paying its mana cost. And it has flashback for 3 blue and red, exile X cards from your graveyard. So if you're not familiar with milling, you're just dumping the cards in your graveyard. 2 Greedily Too Deep, sorcery for 7. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto battlefield under your control. That creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. So basically a board wiper there. That's pretty crazy. Wake the Dragon, sorcery for 6. Create a 6/6 black and red dragon creature token with flying menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, gain control of target artifact that player controls. Has flashback for 6 black and red. Relic of Sauron, artifact for 4. Tap to add 2 mana and any combination of blue, black, or red. And for 3, tap, draw 2 cards and discard a card. The Black Gate, legendary land gate. As it enters battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters battlefield. Tap for black, and for 1 black, tap, choose a player with the most life or tied for the most life. Target creature can't be blocked by creatures that player controls this turn. Decree of Pain, sorcery for 8. Destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. Draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. Cycle it for 3 and 2 black. And when you cycle it, all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. So some more board wiping against those creature decks. Those 1/1 tokens typically. We've got Languish, sorcery for 4. All creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. Okay, so more removal. Living Death, sorcery for 5. Each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all cards they exiled this way onto the battlefield. Okay. Reanimate, sorcery for a single black. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its mana value. And Blasphemous Act, sorcery for 9. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. It deals 13 damage to each creature. And Goblin Dark Dwellers, creature goblin 4/4 for 5 with menace. When it enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana costs. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. And Inferno Titan, creature giant 6/6 4/6. And for a red, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Nullspine Dragon, creature dragon 7/5 for 7 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard your hand and draw cards equal to the damage dealt to target opponent this turn. And Scourge of the Throne, it's a mythic. Creature dragon 5/5 for 6 with flying and dethrone. When it attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the most life or tied for the most life, untap all attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Siege Gang Commander, more goblin goodness. It's a 2/2 for 5. When it enters the battlefield, create 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens for 1 and a red. Sacrifice a goblin. It deals 2 damage to any target. And Treasure Nabber, creature goblin rogue 3/2 for 3. Whenever an opponent taps an artifact for mana, gain control of that artifact until end of your next turn. And Hostage Taker. I remember this one, what was it? Ixalan Standard, I think. Creature human pirate 2/3 for 4. When it enters battlefield, exile another target creature or artifact until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. Notion Thief, creature human rogue 3/1 for 4. Has flash. If an opponent will draw a card except the first one they draw on each of their draw steps, Instead, that player skips that draw and you draw a card. We've got a land here, Choked Estuary. It's a land. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal an island or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. Tap for blue or black. We got a Desolate Lighthouse. Tap for colorless for 1, blue and red. Tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Dragon Skull Summit enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp or a mountain. Tap for black or red. And Drowned Catacombs. Same deal for islands and swamps. Foreboding Ruins. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a swamp or mountain card from your hand. If you don't, enters the battlefield tap. Tap for black or red. Frostboil Snarl. So this is the same deal except for blue or red. Smoldering Marsh. Tap for black or red. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. And Sulphur Falls. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island or mountain. Tap for blue or red. Sulphurous Springs for 1. Not for 1. Tap for colorless. There we go. Tap, add black or red. It deals 1 damage to you. Sunken Hollow. So this one you can tap for blue or black. Enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Underground River. Tap for colorless or tap for blue or black, and it deals 1 damage to you. Soul Ring. Okay, I was wondering when we'd find one of these. Artifact for 1. Tap for 2 colorless, pretty much in every commander deck these days. Worn Power Stone. Artifact for 3. Enters battlefield tap. Tap for 2 colorless. Okay, so now we'll take a look at... We have a bunch more lands, and then we have tokens. See what we got here. Command Tower. So land, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. I like the artwork on that one. Crumbling Necropolis. Enters tap. Tap for blue, black, or red. Evolving Wilds. Tap, sack it. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle. Field of Ruin. Tap for colorless for 2. Tap, sack it. Destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Each player searches their library for a basic land card, puts it onto the battlefield, then shuffles. Path of Ancestry. Another land enters tapped. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and when that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. And Rogue's Passage. Tap for colorless for 4. Tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Terramorphic Expanse. Another land. Tap, sack it. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Okay, so now we have basic lands. So starting with islands, we have 6 of those, and then swamps, 6 of those, and mountains, 7 of those. Okay, so there is our mana base, roughly equal. And let's take a look at the tokens up next. So we've got the 0/0 Orc Army. So this is the one that you amass. On the other side, we've got another 0/0 Orc Army. So I guess depending on which artwork you like on that one. We've got a food token. On the other side, a Wraith with Menace, 3/3. Oh, I love this. A Goblin 1/1 token creature. I think that one's going to be popular. And a Wraith on the other side. So another Goblin and a Wraith, Goblin, and a Wraith. Okay, and next we got a Dragon 6/6 with Flying and Menace. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, gain control of target artifact that player controls. And a Wraith. Okay, Dragon and a Wraith. We've got a Treasure token, flipping it around. Another Wraith. Okay, so you're going to generate a ton of Wraiths with this one. Treasure and Wraith. Okay. Treasure and Wraith, and then we have the ring mechanic here, and it tells you about how the ring tempts you. So these are all the rules for that, and parts of the turn, and popular Magic formats. Okay, so this deck looks pretty fun. Only concern I really have is there's a lot of high mana cost stuff. So especially this dude here, the Sauron, it's going to cost a lot to bring that one out. So yeah, you got to do a lot of removal, ramping up. You might want to adjust the mana base to help with the ramping, but otherwise, looks pretty good. I actually think it would be a good starting point for a goblin deck. So yeah, definitely liking what I'm seeing here. Let me know in the comments what you think. And stay tuned, we'll be getting stuck into the rest of the Lord of the Rings Commander decks in the next couple of days. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.